Thank you all. The center does amazing work, and it's a privilege to be associated with it. It's also been a privilege to curate this exhibition, and in the interest of hearing as much as possible from these two over here, I'm going to keep my introductory remarks very short. Susan Burnstine and Traer Scott embody in their photographs the familiar quotation from Louis Pasteur, that in the fields of observation, chance favors only the prepared mind. Their photographs rely heavily on chance, and they are prepared. Susan has had an amazingly varied career. She comes from Chicago, and I read in her online interviews that her mother gave her her first camera when she was 8. Her father built her first darkroom when she was 12. By 14, she was working as an assistant to a commercial and portrait photographer. By 21, not surprisingly, she was burnt out. She moved to LA, graduated from college, and spent time doing screenwriting and script consulting, as well as, and I don't think you would guess this in advance, stand-up comedy. But many things conspired to bring her back to photography. A Keith Carter photograph led her to search for a way to replicate his dreamy, out-of-focus look. She tried using toy cameras, but got bored with them. Then she took over her nephew's science kit and used its magnifying lens to make her first homemade camera lens. That seems to have been the real beginning. Now she has 20 favorite homemade cameras, and she gives them the names of musicians, and I think she'll say more about that. The randomness of those cameras is what keeps her interested. And she said, you can't plan creativity, you just have to make room for it. Susan's first monograph, published in 2011, demonstrates how well she has made room for creativity. Titled Within Shadows, you can find it online. It's a beautiful book. In addition to her love of photography, Susan is passionate about dogs. She is a dog trainer and is active in finding homes for abandoned dogs, especially if they're Australian Kelpies. Some of you might remember the nose of her first dog named Blue, a photograph featured in one of the juried exhibitions here some years ago. Raven, her current Blue Kelpie, will no doubt follow in Blue's footsteps. That's Blue also in the photo upstairs called The Road Most Traveled. Both photographers care passionately about the world they live in and the animals who live in that world with us. They are activists. Traer Scott, who comes here today from Providence, Rhode Island, received the 2008 Helen Woodward Humane Award for Animal Welfare Activism. She is the author of Shelter Dogs, a moving collection of images of dogs living alone or in packs on city streets in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Personally involved in rescuing many of the dogs she photographed for the book, she arranged, with the help of nonprofit organizations, for a number of dogs to be sponsored and adopted into new homes in the United States. Some of the dogs in her second book, Shelter Dogs, you notice a theme here, also found good homes, demonstrating yet again the power of photography. By documenting the dog's undeniable expressions of emotion, she raises awareness of animal rescue causes and the need for more adoptive homes. A third book, Wild Horses, Endangered Beauty, focuses on the horses' plight and the efforts of individuals and groups trying to protect them. In remarkable black and white portraits and location photographs, she reveals the intelligent, caring, and protective nature of these wild horses, and also tells stories of their rescue and rehabilitation. Her books are bestsellers on Amazon, and for each one sold, 50 cents goes to a related charitable foundation. This is photographic activism, and I recommend you go there and buy all these books. In the work on exhibit upstairs, Traer has gone in a related but somewhat different direction. As she says in her artist statement, this is a series of completely candid, in-camera, single-exposure images that merge the living and dead, creating allegorical narratives of our troubled coexistence with nature. Ghost-like reflections of modern visitors viewing wildlife dioramas are juxtaposed against the taxidermied subjects themselves, housed behind the thick glass, with their faces molded into permanent expressions of fear, aggression, or fleeting passivity. And, as she will no doubt discuss, after decades of overhunting, climate change, poaching, and destruction of habitat, many of these long-dead diorama specimens now represent endangered or completely extinct species. It's my great pleasure to introduce first Claire Scott and then Susan Burnstine. Thank you.